It's Friday, the day before, and I won't lie, I'm actually really nervous. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Yep, so today it's Friday, it's the day before we head to STARS, which is the Riding Club Showing Championships. To qualify, you had to be your points champion within the class with your riding club. So we qualified in the veteran class, but because I use my trailer every day, it was a mess, so I needed to clean that out. And then I also wanted to pin up this qualification sort of like certificate card plaque thing that we got sent. I keep all mine on my trailer door because then you get to see them. But for some reason, back in 2013, they spelt my name Katie, which obviously is not my name. So yeah, I just keep all my plaques, mainly from the Veteran Horse Society. I think I've got one from the Concours, and then I've got a few winners' plaques from the Veteran Horse Society as well. I just leave them there. So I wanted to get as much packed as I possibly could on the Friday. We weren't necessarily leaving early on Saturday morning, but I just didn't want the extra jobs. So I've taken 2 hay nets with me because we are going to be only there for the day, but we are going to be there for quite a while. It's an hour and a half drive. So she had a big enough hay net to get her there and back. And then I took this spare hay net just because we were going to be sort of on site, I think about 5 hours, and I just wanted to make sure she didn't run out of food. Then of course my little magic black box, I just made sure I had extra rug and a rain sheet, and then her bandages were in there, and as you know, that just lives all there in the back. Then it was just time to double check the tack locker. It's a bit of a mess, but I was just making sure I had enough plaiting stuff for later. All my grooming stuff was in there. I had 2 girths because I got, well, one nicer than the other, but it's a little bit big, so I didn't know what I was going to use. Plenty of treats, and that's all ready to get packed a bit later on. Then I really did need to get on and clean. We had a lot of people coming with us tomorrow. Half of my family were turning up to watch and support. I had a couple of friends coming, so I really needed to get it cleaned. And does anyone else do that when they find stuff when they're tidying up? They're like, oh, hairband, I'll just put that in. Emptying my bin. I kind of use my trailer on the yard. I'll have my lunch there, or I'll make a cup of tea when I'm down the yard after I've ridden. So it does get used a lot, and therefore I make a lot of mess. My equilibrium bag from Your Horse Live, I just bunged everything in here that needed to go home. Some of it needed to be washed and brought back for tomorrow. And I just had muck, dead flies, hair, everything everywhere. A sewing needle for some strange reason just in the sink. Just all that random stuff that just never gets dealt with. Then Dublin had finished all of her hay, so I decided to lunge her. She is on haylage at the minute because of her asthma. The soaked hay wasn't working, but unfortunately the haylage is a little bit like giving her blue Smarties. She is just a Fruit Loop. So I decided to lunge her the day before, and I literally just did 6 minutes of solid trot on each rein just to take the edge off. Normally when I lunge, like an average lunging session, I would do lots of transitions. I like to change the sort of speed between all of her paces. Basically how any other normal person would lunge, but purely today I just did 6 minutes on each rein just to take the edge off of her. I then just popped her out in the field, a little bit more haylage because there's not loads of grass. Obviously we are in November now, it's winter. But she just spent the rest of the day out in the field, and she's happy as Larry. But then it was the afternoon, literally just like that. So I brought her back in and I decided to give her a bath. We're very lucky we've got the hot horse shower. So I've just used baby shampoo, and the Equilight really came into itself here. Although it looks light on the screen, the wash bay actually is really quite dark, and when you're bathing a black horse, it's really hard to see. So the Equilight's been absolutely amazing. Now, I know a lot of people say not to do this, but I do actually wash her mane before I plait it. I do not like when you put your partings in for your plaits and you can see scurf and dirt, and I think there's no product that will get rid of that apart from washing it. I then just use a sweat scraper to make sure all the soap is off, and because she's clipped, it doesn't take too long to give her a bath. And like I said, it's hot water, so we're okay. I then just completely doused her tail in this new mane and tail spray I've got. I got it from my Gallop and Glory subscription box. I'll leave a link actually below to subscription boxes because they are absolutely fantastic. We are brand ambassadors, but I was a normal subscriber customer for over a year before I did that. Oh, and don't come at me, I know I'm using scissors for her tail, but I didn't have my clippers and I can kind of do a good enough job. Just trim and shake, but you must have sharp scissors. Now I can only apologise for the quality of footage. I did not film this on a potato. My phone just doesn't like the light, but I had to bring her inside to plait her because it was getting a bit windy and she was a bit damp. But again, Equilight coming into its own, so I've just plaited her, covered them in hairspray and put her hood on, and then it's pitch black now, so I've just popped the boots on and I've popped her to bed. Breakfast time, Dublin's favourite part of the day. It was 7 AM and it was still absolutely pitch black. She had a little bit of a poo mark on her hood, but it didn't go through, luckily. She'd managed to stay relatively clean. So I popped all my tack away. I cleaned all of that at home last night, strip cleaned my bridle. I was a good girl. Then, as soon as it was light enough, I just popped Dublin's 4-lot plait in, and I did actually have to rewash her tail because she'd managed to poo all down it, even though it was in a plait. I think I need to get myself like a tail bag or something, but yeah, all done. And then I just sprayed down her plaits again. The light really doesn't work on my phone, does it? But then it was time to go. Now, if anyone's gonna knock my show morning outfit, feel free, because I look like an absolute tramp. But I wanted to make sure I was clean, so I've left all my show clothes in the trailer and I'll get changed when I'm there. Popped her in. She's such a good girl to load, bless her. Always goes on no matter what angle I make her load at. And she's actually in her new Equilibrium Stellare colour, so that was nice to know that she was nice and safe. I popped her fluffy bumpers on and it was time to go. Now, this was one of the most surreal moments for me. It was an honest pinch me moment. I went to Aintree Racecourse for the first time when I was young. My dad filmed all of the horse racing, so he took me a few times. And I just literally wanted to ride there from the first moment I saw it. So pulling into that car park with my own horse in the trailer was just completely surreal. And then look at the view Dublin had from the trailer. Right over the racecourse, right by the grandstand. It was just absolutely insane. I had to stand there for sort of 5-10 minutes and just take it all in. Like, that's my horse on Aintree Racecourse, and look at this indoor school. Oh my gosh. So it took us a little bit longer to get there than I planned. So once I'd collected my number and everything, it was time to get her tacked up. It was really windy, so I left her in the trailer. To be fair, she suits this and she prefers this. It's just like her own little space, and I find if I tie her up outside, sometimes she can be a real fidget bum. And obviously she's fully clipped, so it's cold. So I just tacked her up inside. She's very good. I can open up the partition, which means I've got loads of space. Now, because we are inside and it was all under lights, I absolutely doused her in like shine spray, basically. That's exactly what it is, it's shine spray, nothing fancy. Just to really make sure that she looked really good under the lights. I find when they're indoors and they're fully clipped, you can get them looking really, really shiny. We then headed over to the first warm-up. So you were only allowed in the main warm-up when it was the class before yours. So they had this little warm-up outside. It was a little bit narrow, but it was okay actually. It was a really nice surface, and the sun was really nice and warm, so it was a really nice place to be. I just walked, trot, cantered around, was focusing on using just my outside rein like I had in my lesson. She went beautifully. Honestly, I couldn't believe it. It was like she just knew she had to be good, and she just felt amazing. I could have just gone round forever. It was so lovely. We then headed to the indoor. Now this is literally right next to the main arena, so They can hear everything, they can see everything. We were only allowed to go on one rein so that everyone was going in the same direction. It was busy. There was 47 in my class, so there was a lot of us. It was really difficult to get any sort of proper warm-up, so it wasn't ideal. It just meant that I had to not focus on how she was going. It was just purely make sure that she was warmed up, that she was supple, that she had the sort of edge taken off of her. She did have a little bit of karma, and it did really seem to work. We did have one small argument in the warm-up. She just got really excited and was just chucking her head around, but she quickly settled, so that was better than normal. Then it was time to go in. Like, oh my god, look at this. It was like a tunnel entrance. It was so cool. It was just completely surreal. And then as soon as you walked through, the atmosphere hit you like a smack in the face. It was like, boom, there you are. And they had this like sponsored VIP area at one end, and then all the seating around the whole way. The whole entire like outside basically was seating and people. They did do a go-round. We literally just walked in. Dublin very politely deposited a poo right by where all my friends and family were sat. But yeah, they walked us round, and then we stood and basically waited for our turn. They were rushing everyone through, like they had a schedule to stick to, and they were sticking to it. I think my whole entire go-round and strip took less than 3 minutes. But they were really strict, so you had to trot straight away, canter in the first corner, and that was fine. She did that really, really nicely. She was a little bit tense, so it didn't flow very well. You had to trot across the diagonal, and we kind of collapsed into trot, which wasn't ideal. And then you had to pick up canter again when you got back to the lineup, and then canter the whole entire way around the outside. She was tense, but the atmosphere was like nothing we've ever been in before. So I just allowed her to go forward. I was literally just holding my outside rein, and then we had to go back to trot and stop right at the end. And she chucked her head up. She wasn't expecting to have to stop that quickly, so it was a little bit of a shock. This is a different angle. Just someone else was filming for me, which was really cool. So we got loads of footage. But yeah, like her head, like you can see like her head carriage. She's like really just quite tense. She looked fine and she felt amazing, but the judges didn't like it. So yeah, then we had the strip, and it happened that quickly that like no one even managed to film it. We also found out 10 minutes before the class that they were stripping the veterans, and I didn't think they were going to be, so I didn't have a groom. Luckily, Olivia, who is Dublin's physio, came to watch and had her hat and boots in the car. So she ran off and grabbed her hat and boots and came in and groomed for us. So she absolutely saved our butts. What was lovely was that Olivia was just saying how good she looked. The improvement since like Olivia's been seeing her over the past year was amazing. Like she's muscled up so much, and apparently she looked really good when she was stood for the confirmation judge. So I was really pleased. Then it was time to leg me up, and she said, "What do you go on, 3?" I was like, yeah, we'll go on 3. And normally I go 1, 2, 3, jump, whereas Olivia just went 1, 2, 3, and we completely miscounted. So this happened, and basically it was like a shambles. It's quite funny that got caught on camera, but no, finally managed to scramble back on. And then of course it was just the long wait to find out placings. They were placing to 12th, and then they had a couple of rosettes for like best turnout and things like that. But unfortunately we were not the judges' pick, but I was so over the moon with her. She got big pats anyway. She really handled it so well. If she was going to be a madam, she would have had 101 excuses to do so. So I was just absolutely over the moon with her. And then my absolute lifetime goal was to go and get a photo by the winner's post. So we headed down the track that's literally alongside the racecourse and obviously in front of the grandstand. And I just had the biggest smile, like I couldn't believe I was walking my horse down here. It was just absolutely amazing, and we took her down to the post, got a picture. Our riding club were absolutely amazing, and they made a sash for every single rider that was representing their club. It's got our name on it, and Stars also handed out a really nice finalist rosette, so we did not go home empty-handed. Look at her, she's so proud of herself. Don't worry, I was driving, so I wasn't drinking, but you have to celebrate, don't you? Now, you cannot come to this event and not have a quick look around the shops, and you know I am a sucker for a lorry tour. They had these absolutely gorgeous horse box, and of course I had to go and have a sneak peek. They had a few outside lockers and a shower, which I thought was really cool, and then inside was this really big bench. I couldn't work out if it went into a bed or not, but I absolutely loved the marble top. I thought that was so fancy, and the fridge was massive. Like, that's a huge fridge for like one little 3.5 or 4 ton lorries. I wasn't quite sure how big it was. And then the wardrobe, I couldn't work out if that was more saddle racks though. It was really strange. And then it was time to head off, and by the time we got back it was absolutely pitch black, so it was all hands on deck. We had Brad emptying at the back of the trailer, Claire had my Equilight on and she was taking my plats out for me. I promise I was doing things, but you know, had to grab a quick video. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Do make sure you are subscribed because we have Vlogmas coming up now, so we'll see you soon. Bye!